My name is Teresa Jenkins, and I was born in the flock, right? PK, all I knew was church, but I went to explore the wilderness. So what I did was I decided to get out there and do all of the things that, I felt like I wasn't allowed to do when I was young. So went out there and, made tons and tons of mistakes and really got to experience God's grace. So I think at a point in time when I had already had my son out of wedlock, and I had made most of my mistakes in that regard, sexually basically, and then asked God at one point to make himself real to me, because I was still going to church and everything, but I wasn't experiencing what I saw around me. People were having their emotional experience with God, and I had an intellectual knowledge of him, but I didn't feel like, I think because I had just grown up in church, I didn't have any real relationship. So I asked God to make himself real to me. So he gave me an opportunity at my job that I could play my radio. And so I was playing Christian radio and listening to these ministries day in and day out at work. I'd keep my radio down low, and I was just being ministered to daily. It's amazing. And then I don't know, at some point I really started to, I know what it was. They told me one day that today was my last day on the job. I had gone out to lunch, and I came back from lunch, and they said, "Today's your last day." And I smiled and I said, "Okay." And when I was on my way out of the job, they had taken the locks off the doors, the doorknobs, and I don't know if they were prepared for me to go off or do whatever, but they were changing the locks. I was like really shocked by that. And so I went to church that Sunday, and I'm excited. Like, I just lost my job. And everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" But at that point, I felt like God was then moving my life in the direction that he was going to take me. And I submitted my life and my future to him. And that's the point in which he, took me to the direction of, going into teaching, and he audibly called me to teach. The words he said were, "Save my children." I heard his voice in my ear audibly. It was a call. And from that point on, that was probably 93. And that's what I would say would be the point in time when I really began to walk with God in a very real way. So that's what I would say is that moment for me. That's the moment I always go to, when I really began to walk with him. And from then on, the Lord has this thing he does with me where he puts me into situations where the failure is imminent, like I'm about to go off the cliff, and then he just steps in and fixes it all and works it all out. And so that's my experience with him, and so that's how I learned to trust him when things look like they're going in that direction. And so that's what I'm experiencing. So now my favorite verse is John 15:5. "I am the vine, you are the branches. And if you abide in me and I abide in you, you'll bear much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." And so that's it for me. That's it. I can't do anything without him. And so when everybody says stuff, "Oh, you're doing a good job," whatever, I just point to him, because I've done nothing without him. And so that's my favorite verse. The word that describes me and my relationship with the Lord is branch. Sometimes it's a dead branch. Sometimes it's, it's diseased or got issues, but it's a branch. And I just try to stay connected. I try to stay in the Word and try to stay with God. It's the only way I can survive. So the advice I would give anyone, or the encouragement I would give anyone, is to read God's Word every day. So An old lady told me that. I shouldn't say old lady. She could see this and be offended. But an elder sister told me to read God's word every day. And she annoyed me with it. She kept telling me that. And I did not believe her and didn't do it at first. But once I started, it literally changed my life. And that's where my relationship with God took off. So I would just say read his word daily. I don't care if it's a verse, a chapter, something. Read something every day.
If he did it for me, he'll do it for you. There's nothing that the Lord can't do. He worked it out, 'cause he brought me out of